Let's play some Mage Knight. Welcome back, Norowas. Day 3, solo conquest, replay and analysis. Let's get right to it. So, what are my goals for today? We're starting the day sitting on our keep, one of the 2 that we own. The first, and probably the most important, is to get to level 5 so we can get that 6-card hand size. Not quite as important in these early turns because we've got 2 keeps and we're starting on a keep. We're going to have a 7-card hand size, but definitely critical as we go into the second night. Objective number 2 is to try to place this final countryside tile, dig our way into the core tiles, and try to see if we can reveal a city to position ourselves to take it on in the next round. So what's the situation of the map? We've got these curse tags over here. A little bit of annoying that if I take the path of least resistance here, I'm going to run into these tags. We get the sister cities here, Maze off to our east, and very interesting looking ruins to our west, which is a green and a brown enemy to get ourselves a artifact. Another keep over here further to the east, a little less interesting. I want to get that countryside tile played, somewhere maybe here-ish, so that the core tiles I can fill in around here and try to get those cities as close to each other as possible. Let's take a look at the offers. Units, Illusionist, Scouts, Ribcape Monks, Illusionists in Mage Towers and Monasteries, of which still no monasteries. It's kind of a theme with the last game with Tovak. We didn't get a monastery until the very, very, very end of the game. Scouts, recruit them anywhere. Red Cape Monks, also at the monasteries. A little bit limited in what units that we can go after. Advanced actions, Diplomacy, Regeneration, and Ambush. Diplomacy slightly less interesting to us because of Noble Manners, one of our character cards. Regeneration, really, really looking at you, largely for this ability to ready units, as well as Ambush, which is also not a bad card. Spells in the offer, 2 really good ones between Mana Bolt, Snowstorm. Mana Bolt is pretty mana hungry. Snowstorm, always great. Ice attack, ranged ice attack 5, siege attack 8 with ice is also pretty great. Meditation, not my favorite. Play with that regeneration in the offer, and between inspiration, we would have 2 ways to ready units, which is pretty amazing. And as you watch this game play out, I think we ultimately get about every possible way to ready units that is in the game, and we use them to really great effect. Before we get to our opening hand, at the beginning of the round, we had to ante up for our magic familiars. We elected to go with white, which is generally my personal favorite. Give us that move of 5 or influence of 5, give us a little flexibility. We only have 1 wound in the remainder of our deck, so putting a green token on there may be not as useful. Opening hand, we've gotten all 3 of our new cards from the game. Still all of our influence sitting in the deck. Rejuvenation still sitting on our deck, all of our mana cards, a little bit of move and some attack, but ultimately we've got a lot of heat in this opening hand that we want to see if we can make use of. Looking at my available options, I decided to focus on this Ancient Ruin. So to get started, let's take a look at our tactics. Currently available is Early Bird Planning, great start, and the card that shall not be named. Because I'm starting on the keep and I have a really nice hand size bump, I decided to go for Planning. I figured that there's probably a very good odds that I'm going to have at least 2 cards left at the end of the first turn and probably subsequent turns, and plus gives me at least a 50-50, a little greater than a 50-50% chance of going first. So I do in fact take Planning. All right, fine. Put you over here. I do in fact take Planning, and Mr. Bravelo, of course, takes Early Bird. So unfortunately, Mr. P will be going first. Let's go ahead and get him started. Draws 4 cards, 14 cards still left in his deck. Let's take on this Ancient Ruins. I play a March, a Stamina, to move 3 onto the hill and into the ruin. And end up facing some Orc Trackers and a Shadow. We take them on by playing Blood Ritual, taking a wound, getting ourselves a red crystal and a white token. Playing Concentration using the green die from the source. We haven't looked at the source yet. It's blue, green, green. Plus Crushing Bolt for Siege Attack 5. Swiftness with a white token, giving us Ranged Attack 8, which is enough to kill the Shadow. Again, because we're in the ruins, neither of these enemies are fortified, and we take on the Shadow the hard way. Next is Aurora Tracker. We play Burning Shield, red crystal from our inventory, giving us Fire Block 4, which blocks the trackers, then turns into Fire Attack 4, which is enough to take them out on its very lonesome. That is kill number 2 for the Burning Shield for those of you scoring at home. And at the end of the turn, we roll this die back to green, and we get our reward and our level up. Let's go ahead and throw a shield on there and take a look at our combat rewards. We have a choice between Bow of Stars Dawn and Banner of Courage. Banner of Courage assigned to a unit you control. Once around, flip this and ready that unit. Yes, please. So now we've got Inspiration, Banner of Courage in our deck, Bonds of Loyalty. We have our special card of Rejuvenate, which allows us to ready units. And over in the hoffer, we have Regeneration. Shaping up to be a very fun game. Also for our level up was getting this very important level 5, which gets us down to a 6-card hand size, one of our major goals for the day. And we continue on with our turn. Mr. B has 10 cards left in his deck, and we draw Rejuvenate, Improvisation, Rage, Determination, and our new Banner of Courage. 8 cards left in our deck. Still all of our influence sitting there. But we've now got a beefy 8 cards in hand, thanks to our keep, and thanks to our new level up. And let's take a look at what we do. I decide to move here to the plains, have to deal with these hags one way or the other unless I want to backtrack into the mountains, which I don't really want to do. Also will allow me a peek at this mage tower. These villages are mildly interesting. Again, looking back at the units offer, we've got the scouts that can be recruited anywhere, not necessarily looking to replace my foresters. Illusionists are an option in that mage tower if we happen to go in there. And again, still no monasteries on the board. So I think that's our course of action. We're going to move on to these plains, provoke these hags, and see what we see. We didn't get an extra card from planning because we only ended the turn with 1 card in our hand, which is a little unfortunate, but hopefully that'll get better use for us later in the day. So first, we activate our peasants for move 2, moving us onto the plains and provoking the hag. I guess one benefit from the hag is it will give us a reputation. We are sitting at -2, which is not ideal for Norowas since we know that we're going after units. Not the end of the world either. Noble Manners gives us an extra reputation when we use it. And because there's no monasteries, I'm not tempted to just burn all of them that I see. So it's the little things. And we handle these hags by Determination with a blue die from the source for block 5. And our Utum Crossbowman and a Rage for attack 5, taking out our hags. Blue die gets returned to the source and re-rolled gold. And let's end our turn. Alright, Brevilar, 4 cards left. Should have 3 or 4 turns still. Should give us plenty of time. We've only got 5 cards left in our deck. We're still drawing these huge hand sizes. This one now up to 9 because of planning. One thing I forgot. At the end of last turn, I also played the banners on my familiars. Now, because I'm using a save game with my notes, for some reason, my banners decided to stop turning into this nice little small version of itself using the mod. So I just put it up here to keep it out of the area that's going to automatically clean it up. Again, not necessarily the mod's fault. I'm using a lot of different save games to make all this happen, and somewhere along the way I botched things up. So we need to draw 1 additional card. Let's update our deck. We've drawn Noble Manners, another March, our Crystallize, our Threaten. We've got 4 cards left in our deck. And we also need to reveal this Mage Tower, which is the Fire Golems, which are kind of nasty with their 4 physical and fire resistance, also fortified. I could take out this Mage Tower. Looking at my hands, and it's in a desert during the daytime, it would consume a tremendous amount of move. I'd probably take a couple of wounds. I for sure would take a couple of wounds, and I'd probably have the power to kill them without too much left in my hands. And what would I be doing that for? I would be doing that for likely getting Snowstorm, and then potentially taking the Illusionist with what's remaining in my deck. Probably enough gas to move there, take out the Mage Tower, get Snowstorm, and then recruit those, what were they? Recruit those Illusionists. What I decide to do is move on up here to this village, explore this tile, see what we see, and then possibly recruit here at the village. We do that by playing March, using a green crystal from our inventory for move 4, moving here, revealing this tile, and it is also our... here we go again. Hold on just a moment. I have to remember to set that before I start. Alright, taking a look at this tile, and glory hallelujah, we have ourselves a monastery and some orc war beasts. Otherwise, nothing terribly interesting here. We do have a magic glade that's inside of this forest. And I decide to use the remainder of our turn to recruit us some scouts. We use Noble Manor with the gold die, And we use, threaten for 4/6 influence, plus a fame, plus a rep. We are currently at -1, and that is enough to get us some scouts. End of the turn. Reroll this gold die. Blue? Not blue. Gold. And that's the end of our turn. Revelor, 1 card left in hand, so had a short turn. Did he draw? So, okay, he drew only 3 cards. Which should give us 3 more turns, which, given the fact we've got 3 cards left in our deck, should be plenty of time. We drew mana draw, 3 cards left in our deck. 7-card hand thanks to planning. And we start off by playing mana draw with a gold die. We take one of our 2 greens here in the source, we set it to red, giving ourselves 2 red tokens. We play Crystallize. We crystallize one of those into a red crystal. I'm a little surprised that I didn't crystallize a white crystal, possibly to prepare that white crystal so I would have it for the familiars at the end of, so that I can ante them at the beginning of the next round. I might have been thinking at this point that I might just let the familiars die. Really nice use of the familiars with the Bonds of Loyalty is normally Bonds of Loyalty you cannot disband a unit, so you can't just injure them and then replace them. But in the case of the familiars, if I don't pay for them, they will run away, leaving my Bonds of Loyalty empty so that I could replace it with someone else. So I might have been thinking that, but I did in fact take a red crystal. And I used the magic familiars to move 5 onto this magical glade. And I used our shiny new scouts to explore our very first quartile, which was our second major objective for the day. And I get some high dragons right in our face, a mage tower, multi-tokened altar, but for a whopping 10 fame, and another mine. End of the turn, gold goes back to the source and rerolls blue. I'm just going to heal our wound. Technically that happens at the end as we clean up. And we go on to the next turn. Revelor has drawn all the cards in his deck, giving us 2 more turns. We have drawn the remainder of our deck as well. Got our gold token from the Mana Glade, thank you, mod. Since I am sitting on this Magic Glade and I do have some healing in my hand, I decide to provoke the High Dragon. And let's see, how did I deal with this High Dragon? Prior to provoking him, I did flip the Banner of Courage, allowing me... Whoa, alright, 1 step at a time. Allowing me to ready my Magic Familiars. So good. I simply stare the High Dragon in the face. 2, 3, 4 wounds like a champ. Play my Banner of Familiars for 3 attack. Improvisation, gold token, pitching swiftness for 5. We are now at 8, and a rage for 10. And the High Dragons fall. For the end of my turn, I play Rejuvenate with with a green die. I heal 2 cards. I've got another healing from the Glade. And the green rerolls to gold. So I've actually rolled gold 3 out of the 5 turns this round, making up for some of the poor rolling that I had last night. Let's get our level up and the nice fame boost from killing the High Dragon, which will be helpful. We have the options between Whisper in the Trees, Motivation, Beguile, and Forked Lightning. Beguile may be kind of interesting, just because I am Norowas, but if I release the Magic Familiars, I still have the Bonds of Loyalty, which gives me an Influence 5. I've already got some great Influence cards with Noble Manners, so not terribly interested in that, and I definitely don't want to pair it with Diplomacy. So I end up taking Whisper in the Trees, as well as Regeneration. Motivation could have been an interesting selection there as well, because it does give a white token, which we know we can use with Noble Manners, but this gives us both a white and a green. The green allowing us to power the card we just took, Regeneration, as well as Rejuvenation, so I think that was the better selection. Mr. B calls end of round, and we decide to see what we can do to maybe eke out a little more value at the end of round 3. First thing we do is play Inspiration on our scouts and use them to explore up over here. Fishing for cities at this point. And no city. And a tile that isn't terribly useful. We'll probably look to put the rest of the quartiles somewhere down here with 2 of them left. We play Regeneration with the gold token, allowing us not only to heal 2, but to ready a level 1, 2, or 3 unit. Heal twice. Ready our Familiars. Play our Familiars for 5, the 3rd use of the Familiars this turn. So good. and move to where this Draconum was, revealing the mage towers, which are fire mages. We play stamina plus a blue die from the source. Move ourselves onto this mine, this green mine. We flip our Whisper in the trees, and decide to call that a day. Now, at the end of the round, I decide to, in fact, discard the banners off of the familiars, handily reminded to us by the mod. Mainly because I'm thinking that in the next round, we're going to have gold units, and if I don't pay for the magic familiars, Bonds of Loyalty will be useful again. Maybe I populate that with a gold unit, something that I would rather put the Banner of Courage back on. So I do, in fact, discard the banner. Get a gold crystal from camping on this mine. And let's take a look at the offer, see if there's anything that I want to replace. Ambush, I think, is always a pretty useful card. Snowstorm I still like. I'm going to leave both of these two in the offer. And let's review the day. So our two objectives for the day, first was revealing core tiles. The second was making sure that we were at least level 5. On the level up front, we actually got midway to level 6, so we're sitting at around 40 fame, which is, I think, really, really strong coming into round 4. We started off here on this keep, took advantage of some favorable hand sizing, went over into this ancient ruins, took on a green and a brown enemy. It was a shadow and a orc trackers, I believe. Took them down, got ourselves the amazing Banner of Courage, moved on up through here into this village, got ourselves some scouts, revealed some tiles, moseyed our way over here to this magic glade, took out these high dragons, came down, ended up exploring these 3 tiles, got no cities, but got these 2 core tiles out of the deck. So that was one of our primary objectives. We have 2 core tiles left. We know that they are both cities, so we can strategically plant them where we would like. We revealed our very first monastery of the game. Luckily, it was positioned where it was, so I wasn't that enticed to come over here and burn it when I would be kind of wedged up here against the shoreline where I can't place core tiles. So next is strategically placing our cities where we would like them. Our options are basically these 2 tiles here, since here's where our coastline is, and burning us down some cities. And we will see you then for round 4.